think maybe I have to move back. Okay, that's Masechta Sanhedrin. Daf Ayin Zayin Amid Aleph. We're starting from Ayin Vav Amid Beis from the Mishnah. Till now we spoke about amongst the four Mises of Besdin. The last one we spoke about was yesterday's Sefer. Today we're starting with Hereg. Hereg is by Becherev, is with a sword. These are those that get punished with the Misa of Hereg. Somebody who murders somebody. The Anshe Ir Nedachas, a city that most of the city had served idols, Avodah Zarah. So over there they get killed Becherev, and we take all their spoils and we burn it. But yeah.
The peasant walks in there, let's say a few hundred people start chopping off heads.
The Cherev is you kill them by sword. But also we learned before, if you can't kill them by sword, if they ran away, they went on a boat, you're allowed to kill them with a bow and arrow also. Anyway, but kids, we're talking about Herek here. A murderer who killed his friend, hit his friend and killed him with a stone, or with an eisen, with a metal piece. Or stone would be what, a gun? No, lavdafkin, no. Why not a stone? You could have even a slingshot. Or he kept the guy in the water. Let's say the guy took a dunk into the water. He kept him and dunked in. I'm Vav with base. Yeah, and he kept him under, or he put him or he put him into a fire. He boxed him in that he could not get out. He's unable to leave. He's unable to go out of the fire or out of the water. The mason, he died. Chayiv. Then the misa that is chayiv is cherev. The chafel l'seicha mayim. What's if he pushed him into the water, or he pushed him into a fire? Says and he was able to get out of the water or of the fire and save himself, and he didn't. The mason, he died. Potter, there he's going to be potter because it's a grama. It wasn't a direct death. And it has to be biyadayim. We'll get to it. No, not a slow death. It has to be biyadayim. He kept his head in the water. He didn't let him out. That's called killing in biyadayim. Oh, we're going to say the circumstances. Okay, so that's not because of him. Shisa boy esakelav. If he incited a dog to bite somebody, a dangerous dog, or shisa boy esanachash, or he incited a snake to bite somebody. He didn't take the snake. He just tungerates the snake or the dog, and a bulldog. Okay, and it bit somebody and killed him. Potter, he's potter. Because then again, he didn't directly have to do with the misa. It tungerates. And then the dog went wild and bit somebody. And the same thing with a nachash.
Somebody lights a shire, which is better.
Right, but that's schon a ganz machlekes. It's chitze mishum if it's called mitzat chitze or it's gufei, what's on yet? But that's nicht da. Sag ich mal, hishich boy es a nachash. If a nachash, he brought the nachash. Now we're not talking about ungedates. He didn't just incite it. He brought the snake to the person, and the snake went ahead and it bit somebody. Rabbi Yehuda mechayev, a chacham peitim. Rabbi Yehuda will say he's chayev, and the chacham will say he's pater. Now, Amma Shmuel. We're going to get to it soon. Each case on its own. Amma Shmuel had said, "Mipnei ma'loi nemra yod bebarzel." When you look in the Torah, it says the same pasuk for each tool of death. Let's start off with Barzel. It says, "Ve'im bekli barzel hikohu ve'yamis reitzechu mais yumas haretzech." There it doesn't mention that the Barzel had a yad, had a handle. By a Evan, there's another pasuk by Evan and creates. There it says the lashon that there was a handle. Ve'im be'evan yad. That's a pasuk in the Torah. It uses the word by Evan, the lashon yad. And the same ending of the pasuk, Asher Yamos Ba, that he will die. He through it he ko Vayam Saretzeyach Hu Mois Yumas Saretzeyach. Okay, Oy Bikli Eitz Yad. It says they also Yad. Asher Yamos by the same pasuk. So the Gemara's kasha is why when it comes to Barzel, it doesn't say Mipnei Ma'aloi Nemra the lashon Yad by Barzel. and for the Gemara because Habazel Meimis B'Kol Habazel, you don't need a shear. How much is the shear that it's in order to kill somebody? By Bazel, it's a little. If it's sharp, it could be even a kolshu. It's you stick it in the lung, you stick it in the heart.
A little needle.
Yeah, you stick it in the heart, and he's finished. Here he brings down. That's it. The guy is afartike. Okay, that's why it doesn't say the Lashon Yad by Basel because you don't need. There's no share by Basel. Ashtein Muzayna, it has to be enough to kill, and it has to have and by the it has to have something. Okay, hold on, it has to be something. But Yad here means also the shear. He says the shear enough to be able to kill. By Basel, you don't need that shear. Huh? By wood, your piece of wood. Oh, you saw that? Yeah, Baruch. Yeah. Zog the Yemada. Tanya Nami Hachi, we also went in the Brisa similarly. Rabbi Yoima, Goli v'Yodua. Lefnei mi sha'ama v'haya ilam sha'habarzel memes b'chol shul. It's Goli, it's revealed and known before Hashem, who created the world, who said that the world should come into existence, said that a basil could kill b'chol shul. Lefikach le'nasna ha'teira b'shir. That's why the Torah didn't give a share of how much is needed to be mischayev for the tzicha.
That's why the Torah didn't say yad, no?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He brought a brayso similar to as a raya to what we just had said. When did we say that? The varze mivros, when he used the point of the barzel and that to stick in. That's what. If not. If he used the basel partially with his hand and he didn't, that's not. That wasn't using the basel. The basel meaning using what it's used for to stab, sort of.
Mivras means to stab. I don't know what mivras.
Mivras means no. Mivras means that the eisen itself, that it punctured, dakar. Yeah. And he suppressed him under the water. He didn't let him get up. His head was in the water, and he held him down. Says the Gemara, Reisha Rebusa Kamashlan. The Reisha where it talks about Kovash, he kept his head down. It comes to teach us a Chiddush. The Sefer Rebusa Kamashlan, and the Sefer where it talks about that he pushed him in is also a Chiddush. Reisha Rebusa Kamashlan. The Reisha is coming to teach us a Chiddush. Afagav the Lav Iu the Chafay. Even though he didn't push him in, the guy went in and he took a dip, and when he took a dip, he kept his head down. He didn't let him get up. So even though he didn't originally push him in, nevertheless he's going to be chayiv. Kiven dein yachol alis misham. But since he made it a situation that he cannot get up, and he died, so therefore he's chayiv. The same for the busik. And the Sefer comes to tell us a chiddush. Afagav the dachafai, even though the Retzech pushed the Netzach into the water or into the fire, but Kiv and the Yachal Misham, since he's able to get out and Umeis and save himself, but Umeis and he died, Pata is going to be Pata because it has to be a case where he boxed him in that he was unable to get out. But here he was.
Why did he stay in such a situation where he's going to get what he's going to do?
Sometimes he tries and he didn't. Whatever happened, he didn't get a chance to get out. It didn't work out.
So the other one is just a Gleidim?
The other one, Kovash, is Yodayim.
Yeah,
He held him down.
Here he pushed him.
Here he pushed him in, but he was able to get out. So it's not called. He killed him with a cleave that could kill him. It's not he has to kill him with something, with a shear that could kill him. But at the time when he pushed him in, he didn't kill it. It's not like a cleave that is. It's like a cleave that didn't have the shear. He didn't kill him. But there, Misa Bezdin. Maybe it's Chayim Misa B'dei Shamayim. Okay, I hear you. Zach, you want to cover Manila? Where do we know? Where do we know if he keeps him suppressed in the water? How do we know in such a case where he keeps him suppressed that where he's unable to come out that he's going to be Chayv Misa, even though the Geram that he fell in? Abba Shmuel, the Amakar, it says in the pasuk, "Oy be'eva he called b'yodeh b'yamas bois yumas hamaka reitzechu. It says oi be'eva. So the oi is extra. So the word oi comes to the rabbi says amit something to include a case where he suppresses him, he boxes him, and he blocks him, and he doesn't let him get out. There was this person, there was a story with a person that boxed the animal in that he should remain in one place where the sun was shining. And for a long time. The animal died. Ravina said he's going to be chayiv for boxing him in a place where the sun is baking. He's for sure going to die. Rav Akiv says potter. He's potter from paying. Ravina mechayiv. Ravina is mechayiv. Why? He says kavachema. He makes a kavachema. Ma reitzeyach, which by reitzeyach we find that Torah was lenient that the reitzeyach shouldn't always be chayiv misa. L'mashal shaloi asabay shoygik yivmeizet. If Reitzech killed someone with Shegeg, he doesn't have a din mezid. The Torah was lenient when it comes to Reitzech. He kills with Shegeg. We don't kill him. Yates and Golas, right? And then the Oines Kiratzim. And we made Oines that, I'm sorry, the Oines Kiratzim. They didn't make Oines something that happened by accident as if he did it willingly. But the Chiyah Hamatzamtzim. But they were Mechayiv, somebody who boxed in somebody,
in the sunshine,
in a friend. He boxed in a friend with something that could kill him, so that he's going to be chayav. So if sold nezakin, where the Torah was more machmer, asabahan shoygei kemezit, and eines v'datzin, and nezakin adam is mud lo'ilam. Whether he does it b'shoygei or mezit, he's got to pay. Eines is kedatzin. So the Torah was more machmer by nezakin to make a shogeg like a mezit versus when it comes to Reitzech. We don't kill him a shogeg as a mezit.
Reitzech make it easier.
Reitzech, if we make it easier, but the punishment is much harsher, of course. But we made it easier when it comes by the zaken. We were much more machmir. We made a shogeg like a mezit. So and over there where we will make, we said, if he boxes him in under the sun or he boxes him in any case, he held his head in the water like by the misa. He held him in the water. He's going to be chai misa, and it didn't shechai b'hem. When it comes to nechosim, like taking a behemoth and boxing him in under the sun, for sure he should be chayiv. Ravach barav poiter. Ravach barav patis mitzamtzim from the tashlumi nezek. Omer Rav Mishashia, my timer. The avua, the abba, the pater. What's the reason that the zayda, the father of my father, meaning that he parted from tashlumim, meaning Ravacha. Ravacha barav. Ravacha, what's the reason? Why there was the kavachema of Ravina? Ravina tachimach takut kavachema. So he says because Amakra, it says in the pasuk, in that same pasuk that teaches us by the tziricha that mitzamtzin is chayiv. Right? It says Mois Yumas Hamaka Reitzeyachu. We're talking about the Reitzeyach. So he says the extra words Reitzeyachu comes to teach us B'Reitzeyach who the Chayiv Lon Mitzamtzim. Only by Reitzeyach, that's where they were Chayiv for Mitzamtzim. But by Nazakim Chayiv Lon Mitzamtzim. But not by Nazakim, because by the case of Reitzeyach, there's extra words Reitzeyach, which is like Zedus HaKos to tell you Dafka there, but not by Nazakin. So Rabbi said, Kfosei, if he tied up his friend, Umeis Berav, and he died from hunger, he didn't have, or from thirst, Potter, he's Potter from Misa. The Gemara will explain, it's a gam. Rabbi said, Kfosei B'chama, if he tied up his friend in the sun, in the heat of the sun, and now we're talking about a person, and the person died from the heat of the sun. Same idea, yeah, but now we're talking about a mensch. But still, Tzina, he tied him up in the freezing cold. A mason, he died. Chai Misa. He's going to be Chai
If you want
Misa.
to kill somebody and get away with it, tie him up in the house.
Wait, we're going to get... Save Chama, you want to figure it out.
Why would he die?
You tied him up and he can't do anything.
We're going to learn a little similar to...
Last week, you mean the Rav is hungry?
Okay,
He died from hunger.
if he tied him up in a...
That's like about bagels. They went them to work and went to the freezer. They could get out and found them nice and fresh, frozen.
Oy, big. Oy. If he tied him up, save Chama love it. If he tied him up in a place where the sun wasn't shining yet, but the sun is going to be coming out soon. So then, at the time when he tied him up, the Kli of Misa wasn't in there in the same time. So then he's not going to be chayiv. Or the same thing, Soif Tzina Lavi. Right now it's warm, like in New York. It's going to be warm the next 3 days. You keep them tied up for the next 5 days, but after 3 days, back to below zero. So right now it's not below zero.
But you're not going to be here.
Okay, but right now it's not below zero.
You'll be fine.
So, V'amar Rava, Kfasa Lefnei Ari. What's if he tied him up in front of a lion? Potter, he's potter. Oh, it says if he tied him up in front of a lion, potter, he's potter. Why is he potter? So he brings down from the Yad Yameh, and I think also from the Meiri, that that he, even if he wouldn't be tied up in front of a lion, you don't stand a chance. Untied.
Because it's not the line on the back.
He's not getting away with it. So the kasha is the one who tied him up. How did he get away with it? This is what the Meiri is. So the Meiri answers, "Lahazbe, how did he get saved from Nari?" So he said he came prepared. He came prepared with machshir, not to get killed by Dari. Or he's covered with clothing that protect him. I know it. If it's in front of mosquitoes, so mosquitoes bite, right? So if he tied, but if you didn't have tied up, you could move around the mosquitoes with your hand. But if you're tied up, you're getting bitten the whole time. So then here he's saying Yetushim in the jukis. Okay, so he says chayiv. He's chayiv misa. Says Rav Ashi argues. He says even in front of mosquitoes, he's going to be potter. Why? Hani ozvi, hani also. Usually mosquitoes, when it bites, it dies. It takes some blood and it dies. So it's not the same mosquitoes that at the end killed him. It's different mosquitoes. And it says at that time when he was tied up, it had to be a kli that could kill him at that time. But these mosquitoes that were there at that time weren't enough to kill him. So those mosquitoes are gone. It's no mosquitoes at the time. Doesn't matter. But we say when he's tied up, it has to be in a time that at that same time there had to be a kli that could kill him, like the sun baking on him. If the sun is going to come out later and you tied him up now, we said he's not going to be chayiv. It has to be at the time when he was tied up that there was the kli of bisa to kill him at that time. And here these Yetushim are not the same. So the last Yetushim that had to kill him weren't there at that time. There were mosquitoes, but there are new mosquitoes. Those are first mosquitoes. He was tied up, but it wasn't enough to kill him. They had to fly more in. The same ones that were there are not there now. Itman, we had learned kafal of gigis. If somebody covered him with a barrel, says fadala maziva, or he was sleeping right under a rooftop, and the guy cut out a nice hole that it should blow as a wind while he's sleeping, and he turned into a piece of ice. The whole room turned into a freezer. So Rabbi Zera chadam chayiv, chadam potter. Rabbi Zera were arguing. One said it's chayiv. One says it's potter. The Stein says, I'll bring you a raya. The Rabbi who the Yamba potter. Rabbi is the one that says it's potter. For Rabbi had said previously, if he tied up his friend, umeis, and the person died but of in a hunger, potter. He says he's potter. Because Bishas, at the time when he tied him up, he wasn't yet at a level that he's going to die from hunger. It's going to take some time. So at that time, since it wasn't... No, you're talking about the Ragachova and the Reb Chaim Brisker. We'll get to... It has to be, he says, it has to be the Shir of Misa. That's what we're talking about. At that time, there had to be the Shir of Misa.
But he was the one that started to kill him. So why should
the start is nothing. It has to be a Kele that could kill him right there and then. In fact, you want to have just the opposite. To Stayim, the Reb Zera, I'll bring you a raya that it's Reb Zera who says it's potter. Dama potter. Dama Reb Zera said, Hi man, the idol lechavre beveis l'shisha. This person who entered into the house of his friend that was made out of marble, and it was a closed, sealed room. The adle lay sharga, and he lit a lamp, a candle there. Chayiv, he's chayiv. So chayiv misa, because he took out all the oxygen from there. And his ear that one second, that Yomar is going to say it's because of the candle. So he was in a sealed room, and his ear that he breathes is already becoming foul ear. It's no good. So Taima, the whole reason is that Shraga. We said the whole reason why he's going to be Chayiv Misa because he lit a candle in that sealed room. But what if he wouldn't have lit this lamp over there, loy, he wouldn't be chai misa. So according to this, even if he dies. So the same thing, when he covered a barrel over here, and he didn't light a candle, it should have the same din as a sealed room. As long as he didn't light a candle, you're potter. Because the candle is what brings the misa much faster. So Amri Hassam says, he can't bring it right from that, for the Abzeda from the case of a sealed room where it was a marble room. Amri Hassam over there, he says without the candle, you're really not. He says the air is that's being created by the breath. When you're breathing out, it causes harm. He says that's not in a sealed room. It's not nikah at all. But masha'enkim, when you cover a person with a barrel, okay. So he says, "Hacha." 1 second. Let me start again. Again, in the case where he sealed him up in a big room, without the lamp, without the shag, without the lamp, the ner doilik, the hevel didn't start. The oxygen didn't right away when he tied him up. No, it didn't start right away. It'll take a long time. It's not nicker. But over here, hacha, in the case where he took a barrel and he covered him up, immediately you're losing oxygen right away. It's nicker. He's starting to. It's much smaller. It's not a big room. You're in a barrel. So it's going to take, of course, it's going to take right away. He says, immediately when you cover him up with this barrel, the whole oxygen is going. Says, Yomara now brings 4 additional hiras of Rava b'negei tadine etzicha, and here he gives the simen sulam tris samana b'keisel. So the Yomara starts off with the first simen. Amar Rava. Rava said, the chafei, if a person he pushed his friend the bird into a pit, and there was a ladder in the bird at the time when he pushed him in. There was a ladder, and somebody else came and removed the ladder. But at the time when he threw him into the bird, there was a ladder. He was able to get up. So it wasn't a clear. You can't say he was he killed him. He was able to get out. But who caught him a silke? Even if he pushed him and there was a ladder, he pushed him in. And there was a ladder, and then he ran and he pulled out the ladder. He's not going to be same guy. He's potter because at the time when he threw him in, the ladder was still there.
He should run on the ladder.
He should run on the ladder before he grabbed it. The beidna, the shadia, says about it. At the time when he threw the person into the bird, his friend was able to climb up the ladder. So you see that Chifa didn't have enough. The pushing him in didn't have kidei lahamis, didn't have the shear to kill him, and therefore the one who pushed him in is potter. And the removal of the sulam afterwards, that's called grama. That's called grama. Says Rava said, Zorek chitz, if a person threw an arrow, utris b'yadei, and the person had a shield in his hand to block from the arrow. And another person came, and before the arrow could be blocked, he took away the shield, and the arrow went into him. So the one who shot the arrow is not chayiv, because he had a tris, he had something to block it with at that time.
He was planning to kill him.
Yeah, doesn't matter. No, even if he took away the tris, even if he shot the arrow and he ran to him and he grabbed the tris away and it hit him, he's going to be potter because when he threw the arrow and the guy had the muggin at that same time, so it wasn't sheer kidei lahamas. Oh, you want to be mechayven for pulling away that? That's called grama. So he's potter. Grama is potter. The beidna the shadyabe at the time when he threw the chaitz, nifsek piskei girei. The koich of the chaitz could have been stopped by the shield. So at that same time when he shot the arrow, there was a shield. Then later on, he went and he moved the shield. That's Rama. Rava said, Zorek chaitz. If he threw an arrow, and he had something to take care of the wound right away. So as the Yomara, and a guy saw he was holding on to medicine. He slapped his hand. And no more medicine. He destroyed it. But even the person who threw the chaitz, Kadam ran to the guy who fizon. He scattered the whole samamonim, the whole medicine. Potter, he's going to be potter.
He wants to die from the
Yeah, you're right. But when he threw the chetz, he had the Samamonim at the time. Rabbi Light loves this. I know.
I get knipshes on these.
Okay.
These kind of, you know.
Well, if you took an arrow and you shot it up,
So why the guy that took away this money should
Yeah.
that's the only scenario that you'd be able to then
Right.
shot something else.
You're not faster than the arrow. Yeah.
Okay. The Be'id the Shadabay, at the time when he threw the arrow, Yachal is happy. He was able to heal himself. It says the Yamada Amar Rabba said, Hilkach. Therefore, since we learned that he can save himself even after he gets wounded, Afilu Saman Bashuk. So even if even if he didn't have it in his hand, but he can go to the marketplace and buy the medicine, and then he goes to the market and they don't have it, and he dies, he's pater. Because at the time when he shot it, it was in the market, so he was able to get it.
Who said this?
Ravashi, here, Bishazik Zachet Loyum with Sumiyad and if you ask
What
me,
happened in the middle of the night?
and Tishabi Kishlik Noisan, Shuv Lo Yitzliach, he wasn't Matzliach to get it anymore. So he says, too bad, he's pater, because at the time they had it in the store. Amalei Rav Achmed Rava Leravashim. It's not Malay Samonim. If at the time when he threw the arrow, there weren't Masamamonim,
it wasn't.
but afterwards
Came.
there was Samamonim. So what? But at the time there was no Samamonim anywhere. There was no medicine.
He was a dead man.
So he's officially a dead man.
Right.
But later on it became available. Ma, what's going to be the din? Should we say at the time when he shot it was Kedei Lahamis?
How long does it
Because
take to
there's no
shoot? It takes
medicine
1
around in the
second.
market.
When you throw it, it takes seconds and seconds.
Okay, at that second there was nothing around the market. We looked, watching the internet, and Mittamal Amazon gave a shipment after it was shot. Now, what's the din? At the time when he shot it, the Amazon wasn't there. So so what's the din? L'chayr should be chayv because it's kedei lahamis. There was nothing. So Amalei harei sheyotz mi Bezdin zakei. Bezdin, let's say he came to Bezdin once it hit the market. He came to run to Bezdin because it was seconds, and now they know that in Amazon they made the shipment. So Bezdin will say, "Hey, you can go heal yourself." So if he came out zakei and then at the end he couldn't find it, right? Again, it was unavailable. He's going to be pater because once he came out of Bezdin Zakai, you remain Zakai. Rabbi said, if somebody threw a pebble on the wall, and it bounced off the wall, ricocheted, and it hit the guy, and it killed him. He's chayiv misa.
Why that so?
Okay, because we call it probably koichai.
But he didn't
We'll
throw
get
it.
it.
He didn't throw it.
He threw it on the wall, and it bounced
He
off the
won,
wall.
so is this
Correct.
gold? Did it
Wait,
hit him?
but Tana Tuna, and our Tana learned this din, this same din from the Braisa. In the olden times, they had a game. They would throw a ball on the wall, right, and it had to bounce. And the harder you threw it, it would go further.
Right.
So, but the guy who caught the ball had to take the ball and throw it on the guy who threw it on the wall. So, in order for the guy who throws on the wall shouldn't get hurt, so what would he do? He'd throw real hard, so it bounces off real far, so he has a chance to run away.
Right.
Okay, so this is the case. He brings Shahargo. So what happened? He threw it real hard, and somebody was in the way, and he got hit by the ball, and was killed. So we say b'mezid. If he did it b'mezid, he saw the guy by the wall, and he saw that it'll bounce off, will hit him, narog him. But if he did it b'sheigeg, goylin, he goes to gullus. So you want to b'sheigeg goylin. This that if he did it by accident, he goes to gullus. Pshitas the chapash lezach. What do you have to tell us that? Says you want to b'mezid. The chiddush was b'mezid narog yitzchlei. We need it for that b'mezid. He gets killed. I would have thought, oh, hasa safiki, mi yem hada. This warning, they told him, hey, you know, you're going to throw it on the wall. This guy's standing very close. He's going to get killed if you throw it on the wall. We're warning you, don't do it. And he got the hasa, right? And he did it. We're going to say, maybe shouldn't. It's not hasa. It's because hasa safik. Who says it's going to hit him for sure? When you don't know it's going to hit him for sure,
Because it might not
it might not bounce up, and it might not hit him. It might go a different direction. For Mashmala, no. That hasa is not considered as hasa safik. It's considered as hasa badei. Tony Rav Tachalif b'Marav b'Kamei Rabbi Avo. Rav Tachalif, who was from Eretz Yisrael, learned this brayso before Rabbi Avo. Kigoyin elu hamisachim b'kadur shahargu. Like this game that I spoke with you before, of throwing the ball on the wall, and he threw it hard and it killed somebody. If it's within 4 amas, the person who was standing next to the wall, and he threw it, and it hit the guy within 4 amas, then he's potter megalis. But if it's out of 4 amas, it's chayiv. What is it talking about over here?
Did it bounce off or just hit him?
It bounced off.
Bounced off.
Says if he was standing within, the person who got killed was within 4 amas, he's potter megalis. Why? Says what is it talking about? Either if the one who threw the ball, right, wanted it to go to that place, right, then he's chayiv golos. I feel it put tanami. Even less than 4 amas, he should be chayiv golos. He wanted it there, so he's amazed.
He wanted what?
He wanted the ball to go, the land within 4 amas.
Yeah.
And and if he didn't want it to land within 4 amas, rather he wanted it to land further, I feel it tuvanami. Then even if the ball hit the person even a distance more than 4 amas, right? It shouldn't. He shouldn't be. What do you mean chayiv?
Because he wanted it.
No, if he didn't want it, he says even if the ball went a further distance, chutz la'abamas from the kaisel, it's also he shouldn't be chayiv golos because he didn't want it there. The game of this sort of game is the further it will go, the happier it will be, because he has more of a chance. The longer it takes to go out, he has more of a chance, the one that threw it, to run away from the guy who's going to take the ball and throw it at him.
Right.
So he wants it further. Faket and Nichale, he wants
Is he
it.
afraid the guy's going to catch the ball and throw it back at him?
That's the game. He has the guy who catches the ball has to throw it at the guy who
It's
threw
the
it on the
game
wall.
It's the game of killing each other.
It's not killing each other. Here he happened to kill somebody who was standing next to the wall.
It's a deadly game.
Okay. Anyway, so
why you call this game?
okay. Lemem says the Gemara, should we say the kahai gavna koichehu, that a ball that goes this path, right? That that
In Australia a couple of years ago, it was a cricket. Somebody was threw a cricket ball and hit the guy in the neck and killed him on the spot.
Whoa.
From the pitch, from a ball.
A pitch.
yeah.
It also happens in baseball all the time.
Baseball guy
Okay.
was pitching and the guy in the bat, the ball hit him right in the head.
Right.
Okay.
Didn't kill him,
The maybe should we say the kahai gavna koichehu, that a ball that goes in this path, that means that bounces off the wall, is it considered as the koyach of the zayrek? What do you mean? I'll ask you a question. You're saying it didn't come directly from him. How did the person get killed? He threw it on the wall, bounced off the wall, and it hit him in the head and killed him. And you want to say it's koichu, it's mamish him. Says, I'm going to ask you a kasha. It says I'm a kaddish. Somebody who wants to make the mechatis, they would take the mayim chaim and add efa poda into the water, and that would be the mechatis that would be matarid the tummy mace. Menafal kiddush hayadei oy alatzad, and this efa fell on his hand, or it fell on the side of the keli. It bounced off the side of the keli. V'achakach nafal, and then the efa fell into the lishekis, into the shisel where the water was. Puzzle, it's puzzle. So you see, why is it puzzle? Because it bounced off of something else. It bounced off his hand and it went into the shisel, or bounced off another keli and went into the shisel.
It has to be a direct.
So it has to be direct. So since it was, and you see, it's not called keiches. Here he brings down. Has to be through the hand of a person. In this case, came on its own. How? Because it bounced off either his hand or for keli, the back of or for keli. So in such a case, it shouldn't be. It's puzzle. So you see, it's not called keiche. It's not called yidei adam. And we wanted to say, even if it bounces off the wall, it's called yidei adam. And if you want to hach my skin over here, it's talking about b'shoises. It didn't bounce off nothing. The water, the ash fell into a keli, and the keli was on a slope, and it was trickling down. The ash was falling into the keli, so it didn't come from the koyach of a hand. Really, if it bounced off, it came from the koyach of the person. The ephah, it bounced off with the back of a keli. It would be okay. The only reason why it's not okay here it's talking about b'sheises. It dropped on a, let's say, a piece of cheres, and it was dripping down. It wasn't from the koyach of a person. It came on its own. So therefore, it's going to be puzzle. Tashma says, you want to come in here and I'll bring you a raya from another Mishnah that a chayfetz that was thrown and against the wall and it hit somebody, it's considered koiche. Where machat, if there was a tamidik's needle, that was placed on a shard, he's Allah and he sprayed the meichatas on it in order to be matarit. And they found a little bit of the meichatas that was sprayed. Safek ala machat hiza, safek ala cheres hiza, umitza Allah. He says it's a suffix if the water, the meichatas came directly on the needle, or it's a suffix if it bounced off the cheres and it came onto the needle. So we say haza ase pasal. It's sprayed on. Hiza, maybe it was hiza rak ala cheres and rak misham huzu amayim al hamachat. It first hit the cheres and it bounced off the cheres and it came on the machat. The machat was tummy, and he needed to make hatis to be matarid. So we said haza'ase puzzle, then haza'as puzzle. So you see, if it bounces off, it's not directly from the yadayim of the person who's bringing the mechatis. Well, you have to read, not mitzit spray. Say he found it. He found that there was water on the machat. He wasn't sure how it came. Maybe it came like through a slope, and he had nothing to do with his koyach, that the water just dripped down on a cheres that was on a slope, or maybe it did bounce off. Since we don't know, that's why he was puzzled. Papa said, "Had mind the cops this person who tied his friend that he shouldn't be able to run. And there was a wall that was blocking the waves of the water, and he made a hole in the wall, and the whole wave, the whole current of water came and drowned him. Then it's considered as his koyach. And it's going to be koyach. He's going to be chayv, misa. Honey, what did we say? The koyach rishon. If it's the koyach rishon, that means right from that hole, the current right away drowned him. He made a hole in the wall, or released the wall right away. He went in. But what's if he opened up further away and had to bounce off, and then the current went over him? Grama ba'amul, it's a grama, and he's not going to be chayv misa. Somebody threw a pebble of Maila, a whole chalitz nothing, and it fell sideways, and it killed him. Chayiv. The Zedek is going to be Chayiv Misa. Says, my time, what's the reason? You're going to say it's coming straight from him. Says, it should have gone higher and higher. What are you? If it fell down, how can you say it's his koyach? Once it's coming down, it's not his koyach. Says, and if it's not his koyach, it should go directly down. We have to say this, that it went sideways. It went a little bit sideways because it's taka of shvacha. It's his koyach, but very shvachlik. So his koyach is mixed into it.